Good morning guys, second video of the week, and we're tackling a pretty big topic today, video games. It's come up various times now in my comments section on Instagram, and I thought it's a topic that does have some nuance and it can't really be addressed in 30 seconds. So I wanted to give you guys the whole breakdown, and it's obviously something that I've sort of hinted at here and there, that I used to play games a lot. Well, I mean, not that much compared to the amount people play nowadays, but it was definitely something I did when I was younger. So I wanted to walk you guys through a bit what my experience was, so you can see where my approach is coming from and some of the nuance within that, before sort of telling you, I guess, the conclusions that I would come to now and what I would advise young men, or even if I was talking to my kids about it in the future. So I've always been a nerd. You know, I've always enjoyed computers. I built like 2 or 3 gaming PCs. The one that I've got at the moment, it's an Aussie, but like I use that to edit and stuff, and I built it myself. Probably started playing video games like around 12 years old or something. Mum always put pretty strict limits, but my friends played games, so I'd go to their house and play Minecraft and Age of Mythology and I don't know, just very simple games like that. And then when I was older and I met my high school friends, 15, 16, I got Steam and I got into, like, I guess, proper PC gaming, did some CSGO, Overwatch, etc. I wasn't ever very good at competitive video games, but I was always a reader. Like, I read a lot of fiction and fantasy from early on, so I actually sort of ended up gravitating towards, there's this really cool game that I like. It's called Dishonored and Dishonored 2, and it's kind of like a steampunk Victorian era role-playing game where you play as a certain character and you, what would you call it? There's like different chapters or stories that you play to sort of reach the end of the game. And I found it very engaging and interesting. I also played Civilization. So that's like a game where you pick a civilization, whether that be the Greeks, the Romans, the Germans, the Americans, and you basically, it's kind of like a board game almost, and you grow the civilization, you found cities, you go through natural resources, etc. So I was probably always more of the thoughtful gamer. Like, I enjoyed deeper games which were interesting or historical or we're engaging with a story. Skyrim would be another. I never played it, but I think that's kind of similar. It falls into this category. I would never say that I was addicted to video games, but it was a big hobby of mine. Like, in high school when I was still living with my parents, I wasn't ever allowed to play heaps, but probably like a couple hours a day, definitely a minimum of 1 every day. And then when I got to university and moved out, it probably went up to 3 or 4 hours a day. Uni wasn't very hard at all, so I'd usually have whole evenings free where I didn't have any other hobbies or things to do, and I'd just play video games and watch movies. So I think, like, when I was younger, it probably seemed to me a lot more innocent. You know, it was something fun. I played with my friends, and there wasn't necessarily anything super wrong with that. But obviously once I hit uni, I was 17 or growing into an adult, and I was now spending multiple hours a day staying up late. Like, I'd stay up till 11 or 11:30, and that was like a limit that I placed on myself to go to bed. And it was really all for nothing. Like, what was I achieving by playing these games and leveling up and making progress and logging hours on the account? I was really achieving nothing. Now, I've got a few notes here that I wanted to break this down, because as I said, there's something positive about that engagement with a story. You know, we're narrative beings. We're beings who live and function within narratives and stories and myths. There's also something positive to challenging yourself and pushing yourself and this cognitive pursuit, this cognitive expansion. Those are 2 positive things. 3, it's even positive to play as a group of friends, because we know that, especially as men, we grow in common pursuits. What I don't think is right is that video games become the outlet for good and natural pursuits that men have. You know, we take this desire for conquest, for expansion, for learning a skill, for discovery. It's that colonial instinct where we just want to achieve and we want to pursue. But it's being diverted, it's being hijacked by a video game. What is a video game? It's just a bunch of lines of code and artificial levels and stars and games and flashing lights and blue light. And we kind of end up idolizing these things. The video game becomes the object of our God-given energy, masculine energy as a man. You know, those 400 hours that you'll spend in a video game achieve nothing. Like, they literally achieve nothing. You know, they filled in those hours. What if you put those 400 hours towards learning carpentry, towards learning MMA, towards going to the gym, towards learning how to pray, towards working on your relationships and spending time with people? It's like a fake reward system. The games is a fake reward system that gives you an illusion of progress where none has been made. And I think that's really dangerous. It's really dangerous because as men, we hyper-focus, we obsess on any goal. It could be anything. It could be something very self-destructive, but our biology can't tell the difference. So it's up to our reason to govern that. I think if I have to think of outlets for my masculine energy, for my expression as a man, if you think about it objectively, like, of course, not everything is about productivity or achieving the highest good, but there are many forms of leisure that we have available to us as humans and as men that are much more productive and healthy than video games. Now, it could be spending time outdoors, going for a walk, which is both leisurely, gives you a time to unplug, is good for your body, praying, spending time with family, reading a fiction novel, which is entertaining, but it also trains your focus, expands your vocabulary. Non-fiction, go to the gym, learn a martial art, listen to local politicians, find out what's going on in your area, in your country. Like, there's so many avenues where it's not like you're stuck in this cycle of endlessly working or having to achieve things, but you're actually doing something that's good for you, that's good for your soul, that's good for your body, that's good for your mind, and that can also contribute positively to the world around you. Now, if you think of video games, physically speaking, you're sitting down or you're on a couch and you're twiddling your fingers, you're engaging with this screen, which is blue light, and you're indoors. Like, if you think about it from a purely physical perspective, it's quite an unhealthy thing to do, especially for prolonged periods of time. But again, as I said before, in the modern world, it's very easy for us as men to get caught in that because biologically, we can't tell the difference. Now again, I hope I've sort of made clear the nuance that I understand how video games fulfills certain needs and desires that we have as men, but I just don't think it's a valid outlet, especially if we consider the state of the world now and the fact that we do spend a lot of time indoors and online as it is without video games. Like, to have that as a hobby, to have our dopamine and reward systems hijacked with that, in a world that is in so dire a need of men who are physical, of men who are capable, of men who can build. It might be physically constructing a house or of men who can defend and protect and fight. I just really struggle to justify to myself or consider how, objectively speaking, I just really struggle to see how video games can or should be a part of a young man's life. Yeah. I think there's something else we need to consider as well, is that video gaming is a huge industry, and the economic incentive for these companies is not your flourishing as a human being. It's to keep your eyes glued to the screen as long as possible, and for you to continue consuming and purchasing their products. It's very different to like a movie or a book where it's a fixed product in time and space. Like, you can watch the movie and then it's done. Like, it's not like it's a trilogy of 100 movies where you have to keep coming back and you can watch the movie for 10 hours. You watch the movie, you consume it, and it's finished. You read the book, you consume it, and it's finished. The video games is a bit more insidious, because it might be like this online competitive game where it's like you can constantly play it and get better at it, or it's an RPG which takes, I don't know, how long do they take? Like 50, 80, 100, 200 hours. Like, it's kind of like a vacuum. Like, I'm sure you guys know what I mean. Like, these things can literally absorb as much of you and as much of your time and energy as you give them. It's already there waiting to be fed by you. So yeah, again, it's a physically unhealthy hobby, and yeah, it just really hijacks, I think it just hijacks us as men. Now, I guess for me personally, how did I see this thinking or this approach play out in my life? So I guess if we go back to when I was in uni, and then, because it was COVID at the same time, so I was pretty much had like a month at uni where I was actually living physically at the place where I was gaming. Then I moved back home, and I was still gaming as well, but I don't know, basically all my hobbies were online. Like, I did gaming, I did videos, and I just started getting this sense within me, especially once I started listening to like Jocko Willink and Jordan Peterson and listening to the Stoics. There was just a lot of futility in what I did. Like, if I continue this trajectory for the next 2 to 5 years, I'm gonna be the exact same person that I am today. And I wasn't happy with that. And I think that started a whole series started a domino effect, if you will. I didn't actually immediately stop playing video games. I probably still played games for at least a year after I sort of started having these realizations, but it ultimately got to the point where I was working out every day, I was praying, I was reading, and it stopped being attractive to me. Like, once I started doing stuff in the real world, I didn't even really desire to play games. Like, I just log onto my computer and it's like, what, I'm spending an hour playing this game, and then I'm like shutting it down, and then I still have like all of this other stuff to do. Like, it just didn't really fit, if that makes sense. Like, it was incongruent. That's the word I'm looking for. Like, playing video games as an outlet or as a leisurely thing, it just stopped making sense for me. So I can't remember if it was that day or whatever, but I deleted my Steam account, which is a bit more than just like uninstalling the games, because now I didn't even own those games. So if I wanted to re-download them, I'd have to buy them again. And that was it. You know, that was like 5 years ago, and I haven't looked back. It wasn't like gaming was destroying my life, but if I'm visualizing the man who I wanted to be, the man who I wanted to become, the things that would move me in that direction, gaming just was not a part of that life anymore. And it hasn't been. And I stand very strongly now beside this point, just due to the fact that when I look at sort of specific people in my life, or look at society more broadly, it's become, I think there's a good metaphor there in terms of this energy sucking being where millions of people, especially young people, young men, children, are just giving their creative energy, their motivation, their passion. It's all being poured into this virtual falsity. Like it's not real. It's literally not real. They're illusions of progress, illusions of competition. Like true competition happens in the real world, you know, of dust and sweat and blood and tears, in sports, in gym and fighting. Like this stuff is tangible. Like this gives outlet to our innermost beings as men, where we want to fight, we want to protect, we want to defend, we want to build. And if all of a sudden we curve in on ourselves and we pour that into a screen, it's just not right. It's just simply not right. So again, there are redeeming elements. There are obviously some games which are better than others, but as you've seen in this video, if you've made it this far, I just think it gets to a point in your life where you have to say, it's just not right. It's just not justifiable. Yeah, there might be a time and place, but where I've reached personally, I think if you're an adult man, a young man, you really need to consider if it's something that you want to have in your life. And I suggest you ask yourself the question, is this moving me forwards or is this holding me back? Am I using it as a form of leisure, or is this a crutch that I have for myself? And if it is just a form of leisure, I would also ask you, is there something better and more productive and healthier that I can be doing with my time? Because the answer is going to be yes to that question, whether you like it or not. So yeah, learn some skills, learn how to fight, go to the gym, pray. I mean, if you need things to do, ask me, because I'll give you plenty. But yeah, that's pretty much what I had for you guys. Let me know if there's any specific questions around this topic you want me to answer further. It was a bit of a difficult video to make. Like I wanted to carry you guys through a bit of that journey personally, as well as offer sort of what my objective opinion on the subject is. It's definitely a bit of nuance to be had, but an interesting topic to explore. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll speak to you Monday or Tuesday. Please follow me on the socials. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Spotify if you want to listen to these through audio. But yeah, reach out if you need anything, any questions, and keep fighting. And Merry Christmas as well. It's coming up soon. All right, God bless, guys.